of my 100 days of live. If you happen to be new here, welcome. My name is Claudia and I'm the proud owner of Pink's Teas and Things. And today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my story. And that is how this all began. What was this prompted by? Well, this is all thanks to Daniel over on YouTube. Hi, Daniel, who wanted to know a little bit more about my story. So I'm going to be sharing that. But first, I'm going to go live also on Instagram and TikTok at the same time because I realized, although I've shared this story over on TikTok, I've never talked about it in full as much as I did prior to over on TikTok. Hey, baby giant, good evening. Happy Friday. I hope all is well with you. So we're going to go live here over on Instagram and TikTok. Hello, everyone. So I'm going to be sharing that story because I wanted to talk about it. I thought it was a great question, and it actually reminded me that I've never talked about it over here on YouTube. Not in depth. So we're going to talk about it today. Hey, TikTok, how are you? Hello. Hey, Casey's Party Pieces, how are you? Hey, Quiet Voicemails, happy Friday. Thank you for joining. Hello, everyone. Hey, Tanita, how are you? Hey, Colorful Threads. Hey, Court, how are you? Thank you for joining. Got some rest and feeling better. Hope you're good too. Missed you yesterday. No problem at all. I'm glad to hear that you got some rest and that you're feeling a lot better. I'm so glad to hear that. But it'll be available on the replay, so don't worry about it. Hey, Imrod. Hey, Monkey Flex, how are you? Hey, Deborah. So today I'm going to be sharing my story, which was prompted by Daniel over on YouTube. Hey, Catherine, how are you? Catherine from Oklahoma. I love it. Hey. And so Daniel over on YouTube asked, I'm just going to be talking really quickly, so if I don't get to say hello to you as you're entering, my apologies, I will get back to it. But Daniel over on YouTube asked about my story and how it all kind of got started. And so I thought that's an excellent idea. I've shared my story a lot here over on TikTok. However, TikTok, I'm also live on YouTube and Instagram, and I've never shared the full story over there as much as I have here on TikTok. So bear with me if you've heard this story before, but I thought that was such a great idea. So at any rate, let's start from the beginning. Okay, let's take it back to 2017. So in 2017, I said, listen, I'm going for it. Okay, I'm going for it. I'm going to start this business. I've been wanting to, but at that point, I was working as a travel registered nurse. And so I was traveling all over, enjoying it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tanita. And really just kind of enjoying the ability to travel because I've always been in pursuit of time. But what I quickly realized, even in travel nursing, I still didn't have the time that I really wanted. And that was just time to share with my family, right? So that's what kind of started. I always knew I wanted to be that entrepreneur. Am I still frozen over on YouTube, guys? Or can you guys hear me? Hey, Unbiased. Hey, La Vida Dulce. Hey, Hustleaholic. Can you guys let me know over on YouTube if you can hear me? Hey, Rocky's Treasures. Thank you for the rose. Hey, Blessed Assurance. Thank you for following. Grace Mercy. Thank you. Because I want to make sure this is no, I can see and hear video. Okay, great. Awesome. I just want to make sure before I continue because I want you all to be able to hear it. So if you haven't heard this story, you can understand when I say it's so possible because if I can do it, so can you. Hey, Teas by T Creations. So here I am. I knew I wanted to enter that entrepreneurial space, right? And as a travel nurse, it all started with me creating a glitter water bottle for myself. I was so tired of going in to like our break rooms. Even as a traveler, we all had the same type of water bottle. And as crazy as that may sound, that's kind of where it started. So I made myself this glitter water bottle, and all of a sudden I started getting questions like, where'd you get that from? How did you make it? Or who made it? That was the first question. And I said, oh, well, I made it for myself because I didn't want one of you to mistake my bottle for yours, and I didn't want to mistake, possibly drink out of someone else's bottle. So I wanted to make sure I could always quickly identify my bottle if it was out in the regular break room. And so that turned into inquiries like, oh, well, are you willing to make something for us? And I was just kind of like, hadn't thought about that. I knew I wanted to become an entrepreneur, right? But I just wasn't sure what realm. And so I felt like that might be the thing. So I said, oh, absolutely. So I started making glitter water bottles and tumblers. I love glitter. So if you don't know, now you know. I love it. I still have my entire stash of glitter. I said I'm never getting rid of it because I absolutely love it. I love a little sparkle and bling. So glitter it was, right? So I started doing that, and I quickly realized, okay, listen, as much as I love this, there's a lot that goes into this, right? There's a lot of time, because with resin, I was using resin to kind of coat my bottles. With the resin, you have to allow proper cure time. And so with that, it was like 21 days, I think, on the resin that I was using at the time. And I just could not. I was like, this is a lot, right? I'm holding on to this inventory a lot longer than what I want to. So then I started thinking, what's another thing I can offer? I was on Etsy, right? I was selling on Etsy, but I just knew the glitter, it was a lot, especially with me traveling. My husband had kind of started trying to assist me with it, and I was just like, this is a lot, right? And I'm sure he thought it was a lot too at the time. So then I made the transition into t-shirts. And I said, okay, I love t-shirts. He loves t-shirts. We all love t-shirts. Like, why not create t-shirts? That's what sparked me to purchase my first heat press. I purchased a Cricut maker, and I was so proud. I was like, listen, this is it. I love this idea. I went out, I got vinyl, and we were just experimenting at that point just to see if it was something that we could actually see ourselves offering. And that quickly, as we started to create our own shirts, the inquiry started. For those of you that don't know, social media was not my thing prior to, I would say, the end of 2019, 2020. It wasn't really my thing. So a lot of my business in the beginning was from word of mouth. So I started making shirts for other people, and I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. I put a few shirts up on Etsy, and I thought, okay, this might actually work. Well, then we started getting the requests for multicolor designs, and I'm saying, oh boy, okay, where do we go from here, right? That's when I started kind of looking at other print methods. So I went from vinyl, and then I said, oh, sublimation. Okay, sublimation. I went out, I purchased the sawgrass from Heat Press Nation, and I was so excited because I thought that would be the solution where I could actually offer those multicolor prints. Well, listen, we all know polyester is probably not the best as far as t-shirts are concerned, right? And so my customers were kind of like, listen, I'm not the biggest fan. And I'm like, okay, I don't know where we're gonna go from here, but I still sold my one color shirts and all that good stuff. I was still super excited because, listen, this is what I wanted to do, right? And so I kept selling my one colors. That eventually led to me getting my very first cheer team, right? And then word of mouth. I'm telling you, word of mouth is still a valid marketing strategy. I kid you not, it's still alive and very much so well. But I started with one cheer team. And from that one cheer team, I was then referred to a reunion, like a high school reunion. And I'll never forget them because they were like the most active, I think it was like their 30 or 40 year reunion. They wanted sweatshirts, t-shirts to match, you name it. Like, it was insane. So from there, it just slowly started to like, oh, okay, I know someone else. So then I started doing birthday shirts. And I'm like, oh my God, I love this. But I'm still thinking in my head, like, how can I offer a better multicolor? Because a lot of these were like single colors where I didn't really have to worry about it too much, right? That led to me then working with Monster Energy. I'm in a spare bedroom in my home. I'm using my Cricut maker to cut my vinyl. I have a heat press that I purchased from Amazon, a 9x12. Learn from me, do not purchase a 9x12 heat press. Okay, but around this time, I knew it was time to upgrade, right? I had service organizations that I was working with. It was amazing. And I just thought, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, this is the thing, right? Hey, Mrs. Fields. Hey, everyone. Hey, Happy. So I'm thinking, this is it. This is the thing. Like, I am loving it here. So let's figure out another method for those multicolors. I knew sublimation was valuable to still have in the business, so I knew I didn't want to get rid of it, but I wanted some other options. So that's when I started experimenting with other multicolor designs from other vendors, right? So I've tried Plastisol, I've tried super colors, I've tried, you name it, I've probably tried it. And I quickly realized, once I kind of found the people that I loved working with, and it was amazing because I was able to grow my business using them as my vendor. So like, I didn't have any complaints, right? But eventually when I sat down and I started looking at the numbers, I said, okay, I want to bring this in-house, but I'm not really sure if that's a good decision. So we started running numbers and looking at other print methods. Well, in the interim, my then 12-year-old comes to me and she says, Mom, I really think you need to start a social media account on TikTok. And I was like, okay, because I had Instagram, but I wasn't sold on social media. So you're welcome, Unbiased. Absolutely, ATL Del God, but listen, they helped me, okay? So I'm glad you are finding encouragement in this story, because this is really how it all happened, right? So my 12-year-old, she came into the spare bedroom that I was setting up as my office, okay? She sat on the floor and she said, listen, we need to start this. And so, you know, I say she encouraged me, right? But she kind of just pushed me out there because she started the account and was like, okay, so let me show you how to post. Because I kept saying, like, listen, this is not for me. I'm too old to be on this social media app. I don't know what you expect me to do. Like, I'm showing up as a business owner, an entrepreneur. What am I supposed to do? Dance? Like, what do you want from me? I don't want to do that. Like, I'm too old. That's how I felt, okay? And so she started the account and she started showing me how to post. And I was like, still wasn't sold. I'm still kind of playing around, right? So all of 2019, I spent that entire year traveling between Northern California and Southern California. And I said, if I just do this for this year, 2020, I'm going for it. Like, I'm going full force. We're going full force in the new equipment. We're doing it all. Like, I'm really committing to this. And that's when the social media account was created. And I said, okay, I kind of played around with it for a while. Well, we all know what happened in 2020. And so in 2020, when I thought I would just be taking a break and really kind of diving into my business, everything happened. And well, I ended up going to New York. So New York was really that moment. That is really the moment when I decided it was time to stop making excuses. It was time to get out of my head of how everything needed to be perfect and I had to have things lined up exactly the way I wanted them, right? I stopped doing that and I said, listen, you can do all of that if you want to, but just know that you could potentially not be here anymore. And at that point, you haven't gone through with the plans that you set out for yourself. And I think it was just the fact that I was surrounded by so many people that, you know, lost their lives at the beginning of all of this. And it made me really take a step back and say, okay, all this time I've been so in pursuit of traveling to get the experience, because I just thought, you know, I wanted to go corporate, right? So it's like, okay, I need the experience from different systems, healthcare systems. And in that time, sitting in New York, in my hotel rooms at the end of the day, that's when I realized time. That's what I've been in pursuit of. And guess what? I can't buy more of it. I can't ask for it back. I don't get the moments with my family back. And so 2020, although I wish it hadn't happened under those conditions, right? I wish it didn't take that for me to get it. But I realized that I no longer wanted to live my life waiting for that perfect moment, because it will never come. It will never be that perfect moment. Sometimes you just have to get out there, and it may seem messy. It may seem like this is not as together as I would want this to be. I get it. I get it. Yes, Donna, go for it. I'm so serious. The moment I got out of my head and I realized, and I started thinking about the people, like, oh my gosh, how many of these people thought that they had another 50 years, on this earth to accomplish all of the things that they wanted to accomplish? How many kept putting off things that potentially, they wanted to do, whether it was starting a business, going into another career field, whatever it was? How many didn't actually get to live that, right? And actually see it come to life? And so I came back home from New York, and I told my husband, I said, I knew mentally 2019 I was preparing to make that step, but I'm not sure if I would have made it had it not been for 2020. Stepping out on faith, that's right, absolutely. It really was. It really was. And so I started taking those deep dives into social media when I came home. Hey, Mark, how are you? And so I started really committing to understanding, what is this social media thing all about? What am I doing? How am I posting? I took a deep dive into TikTok, and TikTok is really, it's really where it all started for me. Once I realized I could just share my journey as myself, I didn't have to come on and act like I was anyone else, because I just wasn't interested in that. If I can't show up as me, I'm not interested, right? And so I started posting on TikTok. I still wasn't very consistent. It was very touch and go. But once I took that deep dive and I started understanding that I could just share my journey as I was in it, and the things that I had learned thus far throughout everything that I had done up until that point, I was excited. I was like, oh, this is it. This is it. I can do this. And so if you take a look at my TikTok, the dates, if you go through, because I haven't deleted any of my videos, if you go through and look at my page, you'll see when I started to become more consistent, right? And so once I made that commitment, I'm going to show up every day. I'm going to show up every day. I'm going to share my journey. I'm going to share what I'm doing. I love to have a good time. And so, yeah, you get to see the funny side of me. You get to see a lot of what my family has seen for years. Thank you, I'm biased. Right? And I'm probably like, thank goodness she has another outlet, right? Hey, blessed and beautifully blended. Donna said, I've tried the exact same process, plastisol sublimation, and knew there was something better. Then I found you. Thank you for all your posts. Much appreciated. You're very welcome, Donna. But this is why I said, oh my gosh, I haven't shared this entire story anywhere other than TikTok. Like, I've shared bits and pieces, but like the real, this is where it really started. Haven't talked about that. And so once I made that commitment to start showing up, I said, if I can just post once a day, and I'm sure you can work in once a day, right? I'm sure you can figure that out, to show up one time every day. I wasn't a 3 or 4 times a day poster. I wasn't. But when I made that commitment, I was at 75 followers. And listen, I was proud of my 75. I was like, oh, okay. Well, guess what? The minute I started showing up consistently, the growth started. I hit 1,000, and you can look at that as well. That video was on TikTok. Hey, Chelsea. It's on TikTok where I say, oh my gosh, I hit my 1,000. And you'll see when I started becoming consistent, it was just me showing up every day, talking about real life stuff that we all experience on some level, even if we're in different niches. We still experience some of those same struggles. A lot of us are solopreneurs, right? So once I started doing that, the growth really started happening. And then I was like, oh my gosh, now I'm excited because I'm excited to hit 1,000. Like, wow, once I hit 1,000, I can go live and listen. I can give the talk is talking. Like, I can talk all day long. Like, I don't have a problem with that, right? And so I was so excited. And as I got closer to that 1,000, I started feeling nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, is this really what I want? Like, is this really what you want? Are you sure? Now's the time. Figure it out, sis, before you hit that 1,000. Right? And I hit 1,000 and then I said, okay, let's just make sure it's really a real 1,000. Let's hit 1,015 and then we'll talk about going live. And I was still feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. Like, I am not a person that is, I have a hard time like finding the words. I typically can find the words. I went live for my very first time and I was just like, whoa, this is a lot. This is a lot. This is a lot. I've shared this story where I was just wiping these tables down. I don't know, they were clean. I don't know what else I was wiping off, but I was so nervous, but I committed to staying there. And I said, I'm not gonna hop off, because that's something that you initially wanna do when you feel like you press that go live button and you're like, when are the people going to show up, right? And you wanna hop off because it's scary. You're already terrified. Your heart is racing. You're thinking, what if no one shows up? Well, I'm here to tell you, what if someone does? What if you miss that opportunity to talk to your very first customer? What if you miss that opportunity to connect with an amazing business owner that understands and that can actually provide some guidance? So what if they show up? I'm challenging you guys that are at 1,000 and not going live to start going live on these platforms. Instagram, you don't even have to have 1,000 to go live. Thank you, Blessed and Beautifully Blended. I appreciate that, right? So through that, I started sharing my journey of trying to figure out what was that next piece of equipment. Because in my mind, I'm just thinking I want to scale my t-shirt business. And now I can bring some of that, what I've been outsourcing, I can bring it in-house, right? To save some of those profits. Even more profits is what I'm looking for at this point. Because I knew that it was going to take a continual like reinvestment. So in order to scale, I'm like, okay, I need to bring this in-house. What can I use? I looked at the eye colors, white toner printers. I thought initially DTG was the way I was going to go. That didn't end up happening because I was in my bedroom, a spare bedroom in my home. I didn't have the space for it. I didn't have the space for it, you know? Yes, overwhelming for the first time. It gets easier as you do it. It absolutely gets easier as you continue to do it. That is so true, Unbiased Beauty. So true. Hello, everyone that's entering. My apologies if I didn't get to actually greet you as you were coming in. But hello. I'm at 3 something and trying to get to 1,000 so I can go live. I can't wait. That's amazing. Just keep showing up. Oh, roses, roses, roses. Thank you, Love It Customs. I appreciate it. But just keep showing up consistently, right? And so I started sharing this journey of like, okay, I know I want to add another piece of equipment. Let's figure it out. I'm actually, at this point, we were repainting and trying to kind of restructure the room that I was in so that I could kind of maximize like our wall space and all that good stuff. So we're in the room, it's my husband and I, we're painting. And as we're painting, I'm also watching YouTube, a YouTube live. And as I'm watching that live, I hear this wonderful voice come across the screen. And she said, this is gonna be it, guys. I'm telling you, you're gonna wanna listen to this live. And I said, what? What do you mean? What are we talking about? Like, I'm intrigued. I wanna know because I'm on the hunt for like, what's that thing that I can actually purchase that will help me kind of save some money on actually outsourcing those multicolor prints. And lo and behold, the baby's booty. She says it's direct to film printing. I listened to this entire live. You know, I probably hit the ceiling about 2 or 3 times. It probably drove my husband up a wall. Because I was so focused on what she was saying, and I was so sure that that was the method, right? That was the method to scale the t-shirt component of my business. Hey, hey Val, how are you? Right? Yes, start your challenge. I love that. We're going to talk about that too. That's amazing. So at that point, I'm saying, I think this is it. I think this is it. So I start taking a deep dive. Okay, I listened to every word she had to offer on the topic of direct to film. But I didn't just stop there. I said, listen, I have to go a little bit further. Hey, how are you? I have to go a little bit further with this. And so I started taking a deep dive. I wanted to figure out, was this the right print method for my business, right? And I quickly determined that it was something I wanted to do. So I started showing. Uh-oh, can you guys hear me over on TikTok? TikTok, can you hear me? Let's see. It might be this one here. So I'm going to bring you guys over here, TikTok, so that I can charge you at the same time. It may be that. That may be the issue. Oh, wait, that was my light. Wait a minute, that was my light. There we go. Okay, good. Hey, Hannah. Okay, so at that point, I started taking the deep dive. I decided on a machine, okay, and that's why I shared P800. You guys all know that's the machine that I started with. So it was a more desktop style printer, 17-inch Epson P800, converted for direct to film. Loved it. I was like, this is it. We ran the prints. I loved them. It felt amazing. And I was like, oh, this is going to help us bring a lot of that work in-house. I'm loving it, right? I'm sold. I started sharing this journey over on TikTok. TikTok went crazy the minute I started sharing my journey. And I was like, listen, I'm just saying, okay, good, it's better now. Thank you, Unbiased. Thank you, Mrs. Fields. I appreciate it. So I said, okay, all right, this is it, right? TikTok was like, wait a minute, t-shirts? Are you selling transfers? And like, it was like deer in headlights. Like, what? No, I'm not selling transfers. I'm showing you guys this new print method. So if you want to go check it out, like, go check it out, right? And that's when TikTok told me, no ma'am, you will be offering transfers. And I said, listen, it was overwhelming. Like, my inbox was flooded with people asking about, wait, are you selling these or what? Like, you're selling them, right? And I'm like, okay, hold on, let me do the math. Hold on, let me see if this makes sense and what all I may need, right? To even get this thing going. So now I'm challenged with trying to go from t-shirts and everything that I had set up for my t-shirts, and now I'm trying to figure out, well, how would I ship these? What does that look like? What is my cost per transfer? It's a completely different business model. And so I mulled over it for quite some time because I was really in the beginning kind of resistant. But it really kind of speaks to the conversation that we had when we talked about pivoting and realizing, like, when the pivots are necessary, when it may actually work, right? It may work for your business. It's okay to pivot, but it's scary. It's so scary because I knew nothing about selling transfers. I had purchased transfers, so I knew about the process from my perspective of purchasing. Oh, thank you. That was so cute. The little hearts. Thank you, ATL Hill God. So I knew about those things, right, from just purchasing transfers, but I had never been on the other end where I was servicing other businesses, because that's really what it was. And it was really, really scary to make that transition. Very scary for me. So when I talked to my husband, we sat down, we ran the numbers, and it's like, okay, this is what we would have to do. This is what it would have to look like, right? On our end, what we needed to do. This is how we could ship them. Okay, great. How do we ensure, we went through all of the different scenarios that we could think of at the time. And we thought, okay, we can do this. So I made the announcement that I would be then offering those transfers on TikTok. And I'm thinking, we're still going to be able to scale. In my mind, I'm saying we will still be able to scale our t-shirt business. This will just be, an added thing that we can offer to other business owners that are trying to grow their businesses, right? Thank you guys so much for the likes, for tapping that screen and thumbsing up the video. I appreciate it. Yes, unbiased. I kid you not. Like, I'm sure every time I come to him and I'm like, honey, I have an idea. Or what do you think about this? I'm sure his heart just starts, starts fluttering. Like, oh my goodness. But the minute I made that announcement, I almost felt like I was unable to catch my breath, because it really just started spiraling to where I was like, listen, this is starting really messy, guys. This is starting really messy. Everything that I thought I needed, everything that I thought would be obstacles that I may encounter, listen, there were obstacles to those obstacles. It was like, oh my gosh, why did I do this to myself? Right? Because like I said, this was not a part of the plan. So I quickly realized with the P800, I purchased it with my intentions. I didn't have any intentions of doing transfers. So now I'm trying to keep up. Hey, KB, thank you. Let me know if you have any questions though. So now I'm trying to keep up with the demand. It's insane, right? And so I realized, okay, the P800 is not the one. But it's been it was definitely less than 2 months. And I'm already looking at options to kind of help me speed up the process. So for those of you that don't know, I started with the P800. I was curing my transfers in a convection oven. It was a double door convection, right? I'm set up for what I thought that I was doing. And I quickly realized that wasn't the plan. It wasn't my plan, but it was his plan, right? So it was a mess. So I go to my husband again and I'm like, you know what? Hey, Yvette, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I think we're gonna need to upgrade the printer. Hey, Nicole, I think we're gonna need to upgrade this printer. The P800 is just not cutting it. We have to cut the transfers as they're coming off. This is a lot. I'm thinking, okay, we can't keep up with the demand already. Happy Friday, Marissa. Can't keep up with the demand. Hey, Crazy Kirby Tees. Hey, Unleashed Crafter. So I go to him and I said, I think we need to upgrade. Now, here's the funny part of this whole story, which is why, whether it's a heat press, whatever piece of equipment it is that you're looking to add to your business, this is one of the reasons why my biggest, yes, I am. I'm live on YouTube also, Yvette. This is one of my biggest pieces of advice that I could give you. Invest in the largest of whatever it is that you're looking to purchase that your budget will actually allow for. I made that mistake when I bought my heat press. And I made that mistake out of fear and not truly believing in what I could do at that time. I said, I'm only gonna spend $125. And listen, I love my little heat press because it worked so hard. But when it comes to your time, you have to start thinking about those things, right? I made the same mistake when it came to this direct-to-film printer. I purchased what I thought I needed at the time. But I should have really, had I known about the transfers, I probably would have gone with it. But truth be told, hey, I'm biased. You're like, boop, boop, boop. I see you on all the screen. That is so funny. Thank you. So when I first went to purchase the printer, before I purchased the P800, the 7880, which is the printer that we upgraded to less than 2 months later, after purchasing the P800, it was in my cart first. And I said, you don't need that. You don't need it. You don't need it. It's too much printer. And I talked myself out of it. So I removed it and then I added the P800. Learn from my mistakes. That's why I share them. So less than 2 months later, I'm then upgrading to the 7880. TikTok is still just, it was really, it was like a whirlwind. If I'm being really honest with you, it really felt like a whirlwind. And so at that point, you know, TikTok had also kind of suggested I start a YouTube channel, right? Because they wanted to see the upgrades that I had made to my home space, right? So I said, okay, well, what's the best platform? YouTube. I never intended to even come to YouTube. Like, this was never my intention. So when I tell you guys about pivots and listening to what people are telling you that they want from you, when when your customers are reaching out and they're asking for things, we have to start listening to those things. I think I was really resistant at first to YouTube. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. I don't know how to edit. These are all the things I'm telling myself. I don't know how to edit. I don't have a camera. What am I supposed to talk about? My business? Like, who wants to hear that? These are all of the things that I told myself initially. And what I realized very quickly is that no one is expecting perfection. Just show up and share your story. Right? No one is expecting it. And that camera that I thought I needed because it was so amazing and it would really just kind of help me with my YouTube channel because all the YouTubers have it, I don't even use it. I use phones. So don't talk yourself out of starting something because you feel like you don't have the right equipment. Start where you are. That's the moral of my story. Start where you are and use what you have to get to where you need to go to next. So TikTok was still taking off and I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. I need something faster. I can't keep up with the demand. I'm shutting my website down weekly because I could not keep up with the demand. And I said, wait a minute, hold on, we've got to figure something out here. That's when I decided to go for the second printer. So we added the 7880. I said, I need something faster. That's when I found the 7890s. So I purchased one of the 7890s. And I'm saying, oh yeah, this thing is fast. Let's go with two. Right? Let's go with two. It had the automatic cutter. And I know it may seem like a really small thing, but it truly was. Like, that's shaving seconds off of your time. That's when we upgraded to the conveyor dryer because we realized just opening the actual convection oven to place transfers inside and closing them back, that was time. All of that was time. The convection oven would sometimes need more time to just kind of get back to that optimal temperature that we needed. So in the beginning, it was a lot of reinvestment in the business because we were looking to try and kind of buy some more time. Like, okay, each machine, okay, if I know each machine can produce X amount of transfers, well, each machine I add just means that I can produce even more transfers per hour. Hey, David. Everyone wants to hear great advice. Keep going. Love it. Thank you, ATL Nail God. I appreciate that. Yes. Right? Umbaya said amen. Yes. I love it. But that's really what it was. And so there were a lot of mistakes that I made in the beginning of this whole thing because I was just trying to figure out what was the best method. What kind of systems could we put in place to help us process these orders? What were the best shipping practices? All of that were things that we had to learn as we're going through this whole process. Now, granted, I did a lot of research, but there's only so much research, there's only so much you can actually anticipate based off of research. Some of it just takes being in it. There were things that I never would have anticipated, And so I'm saying that to say, don't let the fear of you not having everything lined up exactly the way you want it, don't let that stop you. Don't let it stop you from really going after what it is you want. And be very clear on your why. Because I was clear on my why, that's what kept me going. That's what kept me motivated because I said, listen, I can figure this out. Others have. I know I can, right? I know I can do it. Because if others have done it, so can I. And so I started taking that deep dive into learning everything I could about my printers, about servicing them. I didn't want to depend on the company that I purchased them from because I could see that there was a knowledge deficit, right? Oh, look at me, sounding like nursing again. Knowledge deficit. I can't. Anyway, but I could tell they weren't printers. So they weren't printing every day, right? So there were questions I would go with, I would ask, and then I'm like, okay, there's a disconnect because they don't print every day. So you need to learn these printers. You need to do your research and really get to know them. Well, by Christmas, I knew we were still we were working long hours. I'm talking 14 and 16-hour days. And I said, no, it's time to add another printer. And my husband was like, what? And I was like, that's the only way. That's the only way. We only have so many hours in the day. So to be able to use our time the best, we just have to keep adding printers to keep up, right? Sometimes, thank you, creative threads. That is exactly, it sounds so cliche to say it, but sometimes you do. You have to spend that money initially. Number one, investing in yourself, investing in your craft, really taking a deep dive and getting to know whatever niche you're in. Learning that niche, learning the best practices for your niche, right? But it does. You have to spend money to help decrease your time and increase productivity. At the end of the day, I could have run that one machine all day. We could have taken shifts where that thing was running 24 hours a day. At the end of the day, these are converted printers, number one. You have to take really good care of them. But how long would we have been able to sustain that? On one printer? There's no way. There's just no way. And so that's what led to the third printer, was that we needed it. It's amazing to say that, because in a very short period of time we went from one machine, and granted, I tried to keep my P800 as well when we got the 7880, and my husband's favorite line was, "You don't need two printers." I think I shared that on one of the lives. He told me, "You don't need two printers." And I'm like, really? Look at us now. Are you serious? Are you serious? But really it is. There's a lot of reinvestment. But for me, I took a step back from YouTube, and I kind of stopped really posting as much about direct to film, because I wanted some time to really get to know the different printers. Like, of course, when you first get that new piece of equipment, you're so excited. It's so beautiful. You know, it's your new baby. But at the end of the day, I needed time to really figure out, did I want to continue the structure of building on this transfer business, or is it one of those things where I want to go back to my t-shirts? And what I realized is I really don't have to choose between the two. There's gonna have to be a decision made as far as how to scale the t-shirt portion of our business again, right? Because now transfers have become a very large part of our business. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's either you're going to make the decision to get the results that you're looking for, or you just leave it alone. Like, you have two decisions. Either we're just going to leave it alone altogether, and you're going to continue to complain about what you don't have and how you can't make things work, or you find a way to make it work. Absolutely. You can do both. You can. Absolutely. But in the beginning, I needed time to really understand, number one, who were the customers that I was serving with these transfers. Because I went from servicing like service organizations, cheer teams, individual tees that would come through, that would order, you know, individuals that were just looking for custom tees, one-offs, maybe 5, right? To now I'm servicing other businesses that have customers that they have to answer to. And so that took a lot of really restructuring. They're two completely different business models, and required just the time to figure it out. But it was all due to social media. I mean, honestly, I can't, I'm so thankful that my daughter, you know, kind of pushed me, you know, she kind of, you know, pushed me over the edge a little bit and said, go do it. I'm glad she did. I'm glad she did. Diversify, absolutely. Absolutely. I think now that's the stage that I'm in. Now that I've kind of figured out how, what works best for us in our workflow here, now I know. But in the interim of all this growth, so we had two printers at that time. And I looked at my husband, I said, we need a third printer. But we were in a very small bedroom. We had already taken our heat press out of the room, and I'm just like, stuff was spilling out into other parts of our home, right? It was a mess. And so I looked at my husband and I said, we need a third printer, but where are we going to put it? We don't have the space. What do we do at this point, right? And so that's what kind of led into then moving into the space that we're in now. It gives us a space to have a separate area where we can run the printers, which was a lot of the reason why we started to scale back on the t-shirts, was because in that small room you have the powder, the adhesive powder, you're running these printers all day. It was too much in that one room. There was no way. It was chaos if we tried to add in t-shirts, right? Just the powder alone was too much. But that led to this space. And so in this space, we've been able to really see all of our other equipment, number one, and really kind of start to take a deep dive into, okay, what do we want to do next? Because now we have the space to do it. But there was a lot of pivoting. So, Daniel, thank you so much for asking this question over on YouTube. There are gaps that I needed to fill in over here, and also on Instagram. I think TikTok, you guys probably got the play-by-play as it was happening, but I really need to fill in those gaps, because I even had someone say, wait, are you in a different space? And that was another clue that, like, okay, there's a lot we need to talk about over here. Thank you so much. But I'm so grateful. I mean, it's really interesting, because even throughout this entire journey, I feel like everything that I've done, right, I was supposed to walk that path. That's really what it feels like, because it all kind of led up to now. So yes, I did vinyl. Yes, I did sublimation. Instagram, you guys still there? Yes, I did vinyl. Yes, I did sublimation. But at the end of the day, I also learned how to work with different design softwares. And so that was a really valuable tool when it comes to working with DTF transfers. It was very valuable in our business for us to already have that knowledge base. It was valuable to know how to size our artwork for various t-shirt sizes. So when our customers are asking, because we have customers from the I'm just beginning stage to, hey, I've been doing this for years, I'm no longer making these. We want to outsource, right? But I'm able to answer those questions that the beginner has, because I was once a beginner. And I went through the process of trying to figure out, okay, what's the widest print I can put on this t-shirt? And realizing you can't put the same size print on a small that you would put on a 2X. It's just not gonna fly, right? Right? But all of those steps were in preparation, And so it's been a really, it logged me out over on Instagram. Sorry, Instagram. But it was really in preparation. And so I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the journey, because it was a valuable journey. But I realized I needed to share more of that over here. So I appreciate you, Daniel, for asking the question. It sounds like your business has actually had a very similar growth as well, very similar growth. And it was interesting to hear the industry that you're in. So I appreciate you so much for even, asking the question, because it really sparked a whole conversation here. So I hope you guys enjoyed day 24 of my 100 days of live. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you happen to be catching this on the replay, hey replay family, let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Most importantly, turn on your post notifications if you want to catch me live one day. And until next time, I guess it'll be day 25. I will see you then. Bye everyone. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.